What if I told you that one of the world's most plastic-polluted nations has found a way to turn its plastic waste into power? And not just for their own use, but as a global model for solving the plastic crisis. Welcome to Singapore, where plastic waste isn't just a problem, it's an opportunity. Plastic is everywhere. It's in our oceans, our food, and in the soil beneath our feet. It's not just a nuisance anymore, it's a global emergency. But here's the kicker: Singapore, a tiny island nation, has been revolutionizing we handle plastic. And what they've come up with could change the future of waste management for the entire planet. Stick around, because this is a story you don't want to miss. When you think of plastic pollution, you might imagine huge developing nations with sprawling landfills. But Singapore, small, modern, and efficient, is facing a massive challenge. Despite being one of the wealthiest nations on Earth, plastic waste is piling up. Plastics make up over 20% of their total waste. But space is limited. Singapore doesn't have the luxury of endless landfills. So, what's their solution? Innovate, transform, and redefine the way the world deals with plastic. In 2019, Singapore launched its Waste Masterplan, and it's far from your typical waste management plan. It's ambitious, it's forward-thinking, and it's about far more than just throwing out less plastic. The goal isn't to simply recycle more, it's to reduce plastic waste at the source. Singapore has made it clear, by 2030, they aim to cut waste sent to landfills by 30. But they're not just asking citizens to recycle more, they're enforcing bold policies that force businesses to rethink their entire packaging strategies. One of the standout features of this plan is the Extended Producer Responsibility (EPR) program, which means that manufacturers are now legally responsible for the entire life cycle of their products, including disposal. If you're producing plastic, you're also on the hook for dealing with it. This has forced companies to innovate, designing plastic products that can be recycled easily or eliminated altogether. Now, businesses have to step up, and Singapore is making sure they do. Contrast, imagine if every country had a policy that held companies accountable for their plastic waste. How much would that change the global plastic crisis? It's happening in Singapore. The rest of the world needs to catch up. But here's where it gets mind-blowing. Singapore isn't just recycling plastic, they're turning it into electricity. Welcome to their waste-to-energy WT plants, which use incineration to turn non-recyclable plastic waste into clean, renewable energy. This technology is 2 steps ahead of most countries. Not only does it solve the problem of overflowing landfills, but it generates electricity for homes and businesses in the process. Singapore's WT plants are a great example of a circular economy. Instead of throwing things away, they're upcycling waste into a valuable resource. The real twist? This process also reduces the volume of waste sent to landfills, helping the country manage their precious land resources better. Think about it, plastic waste becomes power. Can you imagine a world where that's the norm? Compare that to the millions of tons of plastic that are either incinerated without generating energy, or worse, dumped into our oceans and landfills. What if every country could turn plastic into power? The potential is staggering. And it's not just the government leading the charge. The private sector has joined the fight too. Companies like Starbucks and Unilever are collaborating with Singapore's government, rolling out biodegradable packaging, reducing single-use plastic, and pioneering sustainable alternatives. In fact, many global brands are adopting green practices to align with Singapore's bold new vision. This isn't just about recycling, this is about rethinking the whole process. Every company that produces plastic is now under pressure to be part of the solution, not the problem. And the results are already being seen. Big businesses are cutting down on their waste, creating new products, and moving towards sustainable models that could eventually wipe out the plastic problem. While companies worldwide are still using plastic without a second thought, Singapore is making them accountable. Imagine if the world's largest brands took responsibility for their products in this way. The shift from polluter to problem solver would be a game changer. Singapore's approach isn't just for Singapore. It's a global blueprint. From waste-to-energy technology to EPR laws to corporate sustainability, Singapore is proving that a small nation can set the stage for the future of plastic waste management. It's time for the rest of the world to pay attention. Countries struggling with plastic waste could look at Singapore's innovations and ask, why aren't we doing this? The technology exists, The policies exist. The will to act is what's missing. It's time for the global community to take notes.
Singapore is setting a new standard. They're not just solving a local issue, they're showing the world that plastic doesn't have to be a problem. They're turning trash into treasure and leading the charge in the fight against global plastic waste. But here's the question. Can the rest of the world catch up? Can countries with more plastic waste than Singapore follow this model and implement these solutions? The answer lies in innovation, policy, and corporate responsibility, and Singapore has already shown us the way. The future of plastic waste isn't hopeless. If we follow Singapore's lead, it could be transformative. In conclusion, Singapore is leading the world in plastic waste innovation, and their solutions are transforming the way we think about waste. From waste to energy to corporate accountability, they're setting a new standard that could inspire nations worldwide to follow. Plastic waste doesn't have to be a global crisis, it can be a global opportunity. If you think Singapore's vision is the future, like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. What other countries do you think should follow Singapore's lead in tackling plastic waste? Let's spark a conversation.